Hello fellow model makers. Right then, since last time I have given the kit a couple of layers of gloss varnish, in my case some future. And now we are ready to put the decals on. Not too many of them, actually just two. So let's bring out the micro set and micro saw. Dab the area where the decal goes with some micro set. Get the decal, which has been soaking in water for about 30 seconds. Slide it on. Remove any liquid or air trapped underneath the decal. And once in place, dab some micro sol and you will be all done. These exhaust pipes need to get some rust on them. So I have some Vallejo rust pigments here with me. And I will use some turpentine to fix the pigments in place. By the way, if you don't have pigments, you can use some soft pastels. They work too, almost as well. I will use this black pastel to add some smoke stains on the exhausts. Right. In many ways, the weathering of a tank is actually what decides how good the end product will be. And in this particular case, we will give the tank really heavy weathering. The reason being that I want to demonstrate as many techniques as I know and in the most obvious fashion possible. How much or how little you weather your kit is your choice. Right, I am mixing a little white to the base color here to start a chipping process. Now, taking a fine tip brush, I start painting chipping patterns. The basic rule being that more exposed areas are likely to be chipped more, as are surfaces where the maintenance crew would have walked and worked on. Using the same light base green, I also do some light dry brushing on raised surfaces, just to give them a little bit of definition. Next, I use this burnt umber from Vallejo to complete this first layer of chipping. I add a tad of black to this color and once again using a fine brush, I start chipping. This time staying inside the chipping pattern I made with the light green base color. I use the same burnt umber and black paint mixture to apply the next layer of chipping, which we will be doing using a sponge. Not surprisingly, this technique is known as the, you guessed it, the sponge technique. I rip a piece of sponge, dip it in paint and remove the extra paint. Next, using a very light dabbing motion, I go over the tank applying the chipping effect. I seal everything in with another layer of gloss varnish and then apply some panel line wash from Tamiya. A thin down oil wash would do just as well. The extra panel line wash is removed with a Q-tip moistened with turpentine oil or some white spirit. Time for some oil streaking. Now, depending on the final effect you are looking for and the theatre of war you are looking to represent, you have a vast choice of oil colors to choose from. For example, in our case, this T-34 would have been restricted to the Russian front. So perhaps using too much yellow or white would not be appropriate. Those colors would perhaps go better for a tank that was operational in a desert environment. In this technique, I apply random spots of oil paint all over the kit. I lean more towards the browns to represent the dirt and mud this tank would have possibly fought through. But I do add a few yellow and white dots to break up the monotony. The white proved to be a bad choice as it was really overwhelming and tended to drown all other colors. But here's the great thing about oil paints. They are very forgiving and you can easily remove any paint you don't like with turpentine, even hours later. Anyway, from here on I use my brush dipped in turpentine to start making streaks. I keep removing paint till I reach a point that I'm satisfied with. At times I added more of a particular color if I felt that the effect needed it. I will now paint this wooden box that is one of the pieces that goes on the side of the tank. This will be the centerpiece of the tank and help me break the monotony. Now, some modelers paint this box green, but we will be going the somewhat unconventional route and paint it natural wood. The way I paint wood is by first painting the piece black and then using my brush to apply very light layers of wooden color. I keep doing this layer after layer till I get the desired texture and paint coat. We will come back to this box later. There are also some other pieces that need painting, like these toe chains. I will use True Metals gunmetal for this. And now for the last remaining major piece of the puzzle, the tracks. I start by adding rust to the track. Now what color and texture you want the tracks to be is again completely up to you. But since we are going to make a rather weather-beaten tank, it is only appropriate that the tracks are also rusted and worn. I use a deep red rust as the main color. Later, I add some deeper tones and lighter yellow to break up the monotony. I keep fiddling with the rust paints till I get the look that I like. As always, I use turpentine as a binder. To add a metallic feel to the tracks, I run a pencil along the raised surfaces. Here is the before and after comparison of the tracks. Right, here's the box again. Since last time, I gave this box a couple of coats of Future varnish and then Tamiya's panel line wash. I removed the Tamiya panel line wash selectively, leaving these black grain lines running along the wood. Well, time to glue in all the pieces and add some final effects, like rust stains from these old track links. By the way, after every step I apply a coat of varnish on the kit to protect the work. All the coats are gloss, but in the end, the last few coats are of matte varnish. This dulls down the tank and also blends in all the effects. And And the last step is to add some dark earth on the tracks and lower facing surfaces of the tank. As a final touch, I mix some pigment with turpentine and use an old toothbrush to splatter some of this mixture near the tracks. And here it is, my version of Tamiya's 1/35th scale T3476. Right guys, that's all for this build. I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I did building this tank. Till next time, God bless and happy modeling.